Hello, I'm Jay Haley from Palmore Institute, and this video is for our senior level speaking class. This is for week number 3. In this week, we'll be looking at a unit which is called the Good Language Learner. Now, this unit gets into topics of living abroad, of the lifestyle and culture of life abroad, and it also addresses the issue of language learning, something that we're all interested in, I imagine. So let's see what's happening in the unit. I want to start out on page 18 in this video, where you'll see this sample conversation. And in the conversation, there's a few bits of vocabulary and phrases that I'd like to introduce and talk about. Not too many in this one, but let me introduce a few things and explain them. But first, here's the situation. The conversation is between Richard and Magdalene, and they're both English teachers and they're living in Thailand. But it says here they have very different attitudes towards language learning. Not the teaching so much. They both teach English, but here they're talking about actually learning a foreign language themselves. In this case, learning the Thai language. Magdalene's a good student. Richard, not so much. So, in their conversation, a few things that come up. The first one I'd like to talk about right at the beginning of the conversation. Richard asks Magdalene, care to join me? Yeah, he's going to lunch, I believe, or to have a cup of coffee, and he asks her, care to join me? Now, care to join me is just a different way to say, would you like to? Would you like to join me? It's an invitation. Okay? If you want to invite someone, you can say, I'm going to get a cup of coffee. Care to join me? The second one I'll point out. Now, Richard's talking about why he's not doing so well studying Thai, and he expresses the idea that maybe he's not that talented. I wanted to bring this one up because I believe it was last week's vocabulary. We had the same word, that. Okay. Again, here the word that means so or very. I told you it was very common. I imagine this is not the last time we will see it. On to the next word. Here's a phrase where Richard is talking about studying Thai and his frustration again. And so he says, why even try? Okay. Why even try is a different way to say why bother trying? Okay. Why bother plus ing. So you might say, why even go? Okay. Why even bother going? These are the same meanings. It just means there's no reason to do it. There's no point to do it. I will never succeed. So why even try? Later on, Richard talks about his attitude towards studying a language, and he says, it's so just too frustrating, and you just end up hating it. So to end up is usually followed by ing, okay, to end up doing something. And it just means that in the end, something happens. Okay. So he's saying here, in the end, I will hate the studying, I will hate the effort, and I'll hate the language. You might have an original plan where you want to do something or go someplace, but you end up doing something else, or you end up going to a different place. Again, just means in the end, I went to a different place, or I did something different. A little later on, Magdalene, she's not taking Richard's excuses, and she tells him about studying. Make an attempt at least. When you say at least, you're saying that something is the minimum of what you can do. Really, just try. At least try. Make some effort. This is the minimum you could do. You can at least try. in this one, see, Richard talks about for him, he's not going to live in Thailand forever. So, knowing the language, he says it's not a life or death thing. Okay? Now, if you say something is not a life or death thing, you're just saying that this issue is not vitally important. It's not an issue which will decide between living or dying. It's less important than that, so it's not really worth doing for him. And this is the last one. Magdalene. Magdalene, near the end, she again cautions him and says, you know what? Because you're not studying the language, because you're not learning it, you're missing out on Thai society. Okay? So to miss out on something means to fail to enjoy or fail to have something that's good, something beneficial. He could get a lot of benefit from Thai society if he just takes the time to learn the language a bit and get a little better, put in the effort. But because he's not doing that, he's not going to get all that benefit. He will miss out on the benefits of Thai society. Okay, that's the vocabulary on page 18. In the next video, just like last week, I'll be introducing a special guest, and we'll be talking about the topic of language learning and living abroad. So in the next video, stay tuned for the special guest, and we'll see you then. Thanks again.